Hello and welcome to Learning Left-Handed. This is episode 11. I can't believe it, but we've made it so far, and I'd like to thank everyone who is listening. We're getting more and more each week. Please recommend it to your friends, family, to that weird guy in your office, because there is always one in the office, isn't there? And if there isn't one, it's you. Anyway, this is Learning Left-Handed, part 11. Today, first of all, we're going to talk about graphic design tips. We're going to give you 12 different tips to make your graphics amazing. When I say a graphic, I don't just mean pictures, I don't just mean words, I mean putting them together to make a nice poster or triptych, whatever you need. This is suggested by a group of school kids up in Montana, so I'd like to give a big shout out to them. Thank you for this lovely idea, and I hope it helps you all with your project this week. Okay, let's begin. Out of the 12, we have number 1. You've got to take a look at the latest design trends, because you have to understand what everyone else is doing and see if you can do it better, or just that slightly different to make it unique to you. We have number 2. You have to check out projects that are similar to yours. Admittedly, this one isn't so much for the Montana kids, but it's definitely worth checking out, because if you see what works for others, see what they're doing, you might learn something. You might learn that they can't design anything, which is also good for the soul. Worth doing. Number 3, keep your design clean and crisp. That means lovely lines, no blurriness, no bad scaled picture, which basically means you've made a small picture too big, so it's too pixelated. Just keep it clean and crisp. Number 4, you've got to choose colours that work well together. It's very easy to find out. I would recommend going onto Pinterest, and they will say which colours go with which. Highly worth knowing for this profession, for those people who aren't doing school projects, that it is extremely well, it's good to know, let's just say that. Number 5, use a grid system layout to lay out what you are going to put. So I want you to picture your project in your head, and you're going to put it into 9 blocks. So you're going to put 2 lines down each side, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I want you to picture in your head what is going in each block. It doesn't just have to stay within that block. You can move the lines to fit whatever. It's just a nice mental way, and also a nice descriptive and creative, and visually, most especially visual way to understand how to do this. Extremely worth it, probably the most important one out of the 12. Number 6, limit the number of fonts you use, because you don't want to start off with something extremely boring like Times New Roman, and then the utterly annoying Comic Sans, then you throw in Wingdings. No one is going to understand what the tone is. So try and keep them to a minimum. 2 to 3 max would be my suggestion. 7. Add emphasis to important words. AKA, make ones look like they're slightly bigger, or the ones that are in the middle, the ones that are most important to this graphic design. Very important with that. Number 8. We're going to talk about something that not many people know about, that a lot of the fonts have a family of fonts. Either they've got the same creator, or similar creator, or similar style. Definitely worth looking at that, because it does help that little bit more to do that. Number 9, you've got to create contrast in your design. Going back to the colours, what I was talking about earlier, you've got to have a big smashing difference. So like black on white, white on black, for example. Those are the biggest ones, but there's lots of other colours that go together. As I said before, Pinterest that. It's worth doing. Now, number 10, experiment with symmetry. Symmetry means that it looks one side equal to the other. Admittedly, it's not brilliant for every design, but it does give you that little nuance, that little that everyone seems to like when doing this type of thing. So try and do that. Number 11, use a scale to emphasize hierarchy. So you want, basically the biggest thing is going to be what they see first. and then they're going to look at the title. After that, they're going to look at the little lettering that is underneath the picture. Generally in that order, because as they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. They are not wrong. It means that we see something before we read the sign. So just keep that in mind. And finally, don't crowd elements in one area. AKA, you don't want to stick everything in the top right hand corner or the bottom right hand corner. Try and spread it out as much as you can. You have the entire space for that reason. Those have been 12 tips for graphic design. I hope it helps everyone out in their various projects. This has been part 1. Thank you for listening. Part 2 will start right now. In this part, we'll be talking about Powerful Networking Secrets Part 2. If you've missed Part 1, go back to episode 9 and go and listen to that as soon as you've finished listening to this one. Because it doesn't matter in what order you hear them in, they are all very helpful. Now we're going to start off with the Library of Power Networking. These are going to be some books that I highly suggest that you read or listen to as an audio book. Hey, we're not prejudiced against how you enjoy taking in books. These are the 4. Let's Swim with Sharks Without Being Eaten Alive, Win the Race for the 20th Century Jobs, Little Black Book of Connections, and Skills with People. Those are the 4 books that we recommend that you listen to, read, whatever seems to work best for you guys. And number 7. This is going to be a very interesting one, because I think a lot of people could use this in their daily lives. This is the 5 steps of how to win an argument. First, you've got to be open to disagreement. Understand that not everyone is so high and mighty and understands you. And some people are what we like to call stupid. So keep that in mind. Second, you must check your temper, because no one's ever won an argument by being very angry. It generally just makes more anger, which then annoys everybody. So don't do that. Third one, listen for opportunity. Okay, you got to see where their argument cracks, where they're not 100% shored up in their wall. So make sure you listen for that. Fourth one, stay open for common areas to agree. Like for example, you might not agree with the main point, but you can come to a middle ground on a couple of the smaller ones. That way both people win, or under the illusion of winning at least, and I highly recommend doing that. Next one, and final one. Have a think over the other person's ideas. It'll make them respect you a little bit more because that you've taken time out of your day to understand their side of it. Don't do that all the time because it is annoying to live with. That's a personal thing, I know. But definitely worth doing that. And finally, we're going to talk about edification, which is the technique for others to develop confident skills while removing obstacles created by a lack of confidence. So basically, what this means is, say you've always wanted to open a business, right? It's a coffee shop. Let's say this is Big Joe's Coffee Shop. You're Joe. Nice to meet you. You're going to use edification to take the obstacles that you yourself create. For example, say you have a panic attack over, well, should I sell Java coffee or should I sell Arabica? Just by doing, you just got to be a bit confident, or do both. See which sells well and do it like that. You've got to have confidence in yourself that you can provide an option. Because just being worried about something isn't going to get you very far. And there's 4 ways you can do this. There's 4 suggested approaches that are great to instill confidence and develop networks. You can be the ringleader, aka the person with plans. The event introduces the speaker from the heart. You've got to be from the heart, and basically you're going to be the person who organises stuff. Once you organise it, you feel better in yourself that you have got out of your shell, and in some ways it helps your lack of confidence within your lack of confidence demon inside you, if you'd like to call it that, to push itself to think, oh, I've made my own bed, I've got to lay in it now situation. Forces yourself out of your shell. Very worth doing. After that, you have the daisy chain. So you have you and someone else doing it together, linking arms, both, as in you lift each other up. You float up together, as they say. Next you have a tag team, which basically means that this time you do something, the next time they organise something. Back and forth like that, so it's fair, everybody wins, and that way you can see stuff that you wouldn't have expected from another person. And finally, you have the private sessions, which basically means that you're both going to pump each other up privately before you both go out and conquer the entire town. Hopefully not under a bloody revolt, and hopefully not against me. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. This has been episode number 11. I still can't believe that we've done this for 11 weeks. Thank you so much everybody for listening, and have a great day. And this has been Learning Left-Handed.